I don't know you, I never met you, and come to our life and then gonna steal my sister. Like, how can I trust him?
So it turns out one of Tata's sisters, Angel, hates James. And while today might be the first time that they're actually meeting, it's safe to say they have a lot of history. Yeah, as if James and Tata need any more strain on their relationship, right? But talking of strain, they aren't the only ones feeling it this week. Corona and Ingi have reached boiling point too.
I feel stupid in this moment. Like, why would I give up my hopes and dreams to come be with some dude who may or may not want to marry me sometime in the future?
Corona has changed her entire life to be with Ingi. She's put her dreams literally on hold. But it now seems like they might not even be on the same page when it comes to something as fundamental as commitment. Now, before we dive into that, let's kick off this recap with James and Tata. So, with their Indonesian wedding now less than 24 hours away, we join the pair as they're desperately trying to set aside their many issues.
Well, it's nice to get out of the house with you finally. Tomorrow is the wedding, and today Tata's 5 siblings, close family, and friends are all coming here into town.
Now, fully aware that the next few days are likely to be very busy with lots of friends and family, the pair are today trying to carve out some alone time just for themselves. They've headed to the local market to try some fruits, including a durian fruit. It's known as the stinkiest fruit there is, right? It's got a very strong odour, but apparently it tastes pretty good, or at least Tata loves it. James, not so much. His face says it all, but it's not really surprising at this point, is it? Just add that to the growing list of yet another thing that these two don't have in common. Now, it's at this point that talk turns to one of Tata's sisters. A sister who'll be arriving from out of town, one that James has never met before. And Tata tells us she really hopes that James and Angel will be able to get along.
Be nice if we could.
So there's 5 of my siblings coming for the wedding, and Angel is my closest sister since we are little.
The thing is, James doesn't sound too optimistic. He's not holding his breath when it comes to getting along with Angel. Why? Well, we're given the first clue when Tata herself admits she and her sister's relationship isn't as close as it once was. And it turns out Angel blamed James for that.
She just thinking you stole me from her because we used to close, you know, and then all of a sudden, boom, she just don't want Tata to leave.
Coming from a sibling, that's a bit possessive, it's a bit strong, isn't it? I mean, we know they're a close-knit family and all, but it's a little bit weird. What, can Tata not live a life of her own? Does Angel really expect her to sacrifice her own shot at love and never leave Indonesia? I mean, what's the issue here? Like, why does she hate James so much? Well, it turns out there's more to this story than first meets the eye. You see, in a desperate bid to try and stop Tata from marrying James, she began spreading rumours about him. Rumours she told everyone, including her and Tata's parents.
She said she had a friend in the US who told her that I mistreated women in relationships. She doesn't even have any friends in the United States.
Now, we're told that these were nothing but malicious lies, completely untrue. And in fact, Angel eventually admitted as much. She eventually apologised for them. And while sure, okay, an apology is welcome, it also gives us an insight into just how dangerous this lady can be. Like, this clearly shows the lengths, the depths, the extent to which she's willing to stoop in order to try and break them up. Now, in response to this, Tata and James blocked Angel for over a year. Tata, as we know, went ahead and moved to America and married James anyway. And that is why the sisters' relationship has never been the same since. But Tata tells us she's really hoping that she and her sister can now rebuild bridges.
Just want to be able to have the same relations with her, like a regular sister.
Tata's hope, or should I say her dream, is that not only will she and her sister have a strong bond again, but that James and Angel will have a strong relationship too. Now, you've got to say, that seems like a bit of a stretch, but as usual, Tata has a plan. Her plan, well, it's tried and tested. Very tried and tested. She, as usual, turns on the waterworks. She tries to guilt trip James. She tells James her sister is sorry, right? They just need to put this all behind them. They need to move on. But James isn't convinced. In fact, based on her past behaviour, he's pretty nervous about what other drama she might attempt to stir up on this visit.
We have our own issues, like with what's going to happen with us staying here and all that. And I'm worried that she may see like an opportunity in that.
James and Tata's relationship, the foundations of their relationship, are so unsteady already as it is that you get the sense even a little bit of drama might be enough to topple the whole thing down. This is very much going to be a case of wait and see to see what Angel's intentions really are. And when they get back to Tata's parents' house, as they're helping out around the house by watering the plants, Tata's sister makes her entrance.
Tata! Angel! Hey! Tata! Sini! Oh yeah! Oh my god! Ah!
After 3 years apart, 3 years of a strained relationship, it's nice to see the two sisters are very excited to see each other, right? This is a very sweet reunion and both of them are very emotional. Now, James stands by the sidelines, right? He just watches it all play out. And it takes a while for them both to calm down enough before he can say hello. But no sooner does he open his mouth than the warm and fuzzy feelings immediately stop.
James.
So,
Good to meet you in person.
I don't know, I just miss my sister actually.
She's laughing as if it's a joke, but you can also see from her face how annoyed she is to have James there. Yeah, sorry, but that isn't the face of someone who's genuinely sorry about spreading lies. That looks like someone who still hates James. Now, James does actually try to play nice, right? He doesn't want to cause any issues right away. But unfortunately, the same can't be said for Angel. You see, she clearly still blames Tata for leaving them, their family, for someone she barely knew.
That's why I've spread the gossip saying that James is really bad person to my dad, because how can I know that James is really good person?
Sorry, but what kind of stupid, sick, twisted logic is that? Rather than getting to know him, rather than trusting her sister, instead, she chose to spread malicious lies. I mean, that's f***ed up, isn't it? That's really f***ed up. And the worst part is, there's zero remorse in her words. Yeah, James is definitely right to be on guard with this woman. Like, it's at the point where she's not even trying to hide her dislike of him. She's incredibly open about it, incredibly blunt and rude about it.
I don't know you, I never met you, and come to our life and then gonna steal my sister. Like, how can I trust him?
Now, in an attempt to try and win her sister over, Tata tells her that they've now moved to Indonesia permanently, although wisely she leaves out the part about James not being sure. But the problem is, instead of this news making Angel happy, she now begins to quiz them on how they're actually gonna survive in Indonesia.
What you gonna do here?
Yeah, we will figure out.
I cannot accept James in my life as her husband because James not gonna find a job here.
And while she does have a point, it's pretty clear that she just doesn't trust James. She never will. Now, on the topic of trust, someone else who's having trust issues this week is Corona, and we join her as she's hanging out with her friends in an effort to de-stress. You see, having recently discovered that living in Iceland will now mean she's not likely to be able to attend midwifery school anytime soon, her friends have some questions for her. Are you really prepared to sacrifice your life goals, they ask. Would you have ever done this for any other guy?
Would you have ever sacrificed so much as you do with Ingi?
No. God, no.
Why do you do it, though?
Look, things may not be as she envisaged, right? But Corona is willing to sacrifice, or at the very least hit pause on her dreams, because she's chasing love. She loves Ingi. She wants to give the relationship a shot. But, she reveals, there are some cracks forming in our relationship, most notably in the bedroom.
I mean, I think in a year, I've had sex like 4 times.
Jesus Christ.
That definitely doesn't sound good, and despite her friend's reactions, in actual fact, it's not quite as clear-cut as it seems. There are some extenuating circumstances. What might those be? Well, get this. It seems poor Ingi has suffered quite the unfortunate, quite the horrific accident.
He kind of broke his penis.
What?
The last time that I was here, me and Inky were being intimate. Some things broke.
On behalf of literally every guy in the world, that sounds horrific. Honestly, I'm shuddering at the very thought of it. I think we can cut him a bit of slack, surely. The guy's been scarred for life by the sounds of things. But her friends then segue, given the lack of intimacy, they segue into asking her whether both of them are equally committed to this relationship.
Have you guys had like serious talks about everything?
I mean, it's almost hard to have a serious talk with Inky because his whole mentality is just like, it's all fine, we'll figure it out.
Yeah, we have definitely seen that side to Ingi, haven't we? He's a very chilled out guy. He's very laid back. He thinks everything will be okay. It will sort itself out. And look, while that's okay, every relationship needs those sorts of conversations. You also need, especially in a serious relationship, serious conversations too. And those are the conversations that Corona feels they're lacking. Like, she admits she actually doesn't even know how he feels about marriage. She hopes he wants to get married. What am I even doing here if he doesn't, she says. But I can't be sure. In fact, some of his jokes have left me worried, she admits.
He's joking, he's like, but I just want to keep my options open, blah, blah, blah. I know he was joking, but some jokes have like a little bit of truth in them, you know?
Corona's friends don't see the funny side in this. In fact, they actually have something to tell her. You see, it turns out that after Corona and Ingi became exclusive while they were in a long-distance relationship, they spotted Ingi in a bar talking with other girls.
We might have seen him with girls, but I don't know anything for sure.
When? When?
Now, by their own admission, they didn't catch him in the act or anything like that. Like, he wasn't kissing them or anything. But it was enough to raise alarm bells. It has them worried. And while Corona plays this down, she tries to act cool.
I'm fine. Everything's fine.
We can clearly see that this is affecting her more than she might be letting on. Now, when we join Corona and Ingi later on that evening as they head to the very same place where they had their first ever date, Corona has a million things going through her mind.
My friends told me my man's acting single at the club on the weekends. I now have just a lot of things that I'm pondering about my relationship.
Corona has moved to Iceland for Ingi, right? And she's sacrificed her life dream. Being a midwife is all she's ever wanted. It's what she's worked towards for years back in the States. If Ingi isn't even committed, if he's not even all in, then those sacrifices she's making make no sense. She needs to figure this out pronto. So with no time to waste, Corona confronts Ingi with what her friends told her earlier.
She's seen you within the past couple of months, like at bars, like talking to girls.
Yeah?
Yeah?
Yeah, of course.
Ingi doesn't understand what the big deal is. I go out to bars with my friends, he says. What do you want me to do? Just sit there and look at the wall? Come on, like, I have female friends that I talk to. But interestingly, for as calm as Ingi usually is, this almost feels out of character for him. It's the first time we're seeing him getting pretty agitated, getting defensive.
Yeah, when I go out, I talk to people. Yeah.
You yeeted those on the table. Are you okay?
Yeah, I'm okay.
Ingi asks to know, what am I accused of? What do your friends, what do you think that I've done? I've got nothing to hide. And with Corona unable to say anything more, and with the night pretty much ruined at this point, Corona now decides that now is the perfect moment to talk about their future. Where are we going, she asks. Do you see us one day getting married?
You know, marriage. I come from a country of atheists, like, marriage is not a big deal here.
I mean, your brother's married, your parents are married.
Yeah, but they only got married for convenience, claims Ingi. They married for their children's sake, he says. It's an interesting response. It's definitely not the response that Corona was expecting or hoping for. But Ingi goes on to say that for him, marriage means nothing. Saying some vows or having a wedding ceremony isn't gonna make me more dedicated to you than I already am, he says. But even laid-back Ingi can see these two have majorly got their wires crossed here.
Maybe I didn't also realize that marriage was so important to you.
I sent you a ring months ago. If it wasn't important to me, I wouldn't have done that.
In all fairness to Corona, sending a photo of an engagement ring isn't exactly subtle, is it? It's a pretty clear hint of what she expects. Like, honestly, how can he claim he thought the picture was a joke? How can he honestly, hand on heart, claim that he didn't know that she wanted to get married? And it's no surprise that this has really annoyed Corona. It's left her questioning their very future.
I feel stupid in this moment, like, why would I give up my hopes and dreams to come be with some dude who may or may not want to marry me sometime in the future?
That's a pretty massive difference to have. One that, dare I say it, isn't going to be easy to overcome. If she's expected to give up everything for him and he's doing nothing for her, you've got to ask, at what point does enough become enough? At what point will Corona leave Ingi and his broken penis? Something tells me it might not be much longer.